We're still here in Bangalore, part of the ET Now On The Go Bangalore edition. And when you talk about Bangalore, how can you not talk about United Breweries? So I'm here at the UBCT offices and I'm going to be chatting with the MD, Vivek Gupta. Vivek, welcome to ET Now. Thank you so much.
Welcome to UB office.
Thank you. Yeah. And what a brilliant office you have, and what a brilliant city.
Oh no, it's a brilliant city. It's a favorite city. It's a home of UB.
Yeah.
And we love to be here. And it's a brilliant office as well. You can see it's a lot of greenery, middle of the city.
Yes, which we don't have too much in various other cities in the country.
Yeah, no, we are very fortunate to be in a very good office, but also amongst one of the best city in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. But tell me, it's been a great city for UB as well. How has the last decade been, and where is it that you see the industry per se, not just UB, headed in the next 5 years?
You know, I think the last decade has been a bit of a struggle because of COVID. And you know, especially in food and beverage industry, COVID did have an impact.
Of course.
For 3 years. But I would say the last couple of years have been very encouraging. We have seen a good industry growth rate of 5 to 6%. And the future is very, very bright because the young India, the urbanization in India, the growing India, I really think that there is a beer culture which is developing in the country. And you are in the beer capital of India. So we can actually see how beer is becoming a drink of choice. And we are very, very optimistic on what the future is for the industry and for us.
Sure. But Vivek, when I compare the global averages, the kind of volumes that some of your global peers clock, at an industry level itself, I feel that the Indian alcobev market is way, way behind. A, what's stopping India to match those numbers and those kind of volumes? And do you see that happening ever? Because inherently, India is not an alcohol consumption society.
Yeah, I disagree that it's not. Yeah. I think the legal drinking age, the population, and the number of people who are consuming alcohol, they are bigger than many other countries in the globe. If you just take the people who consume alcohol or any form of alcohol, you know, it's bigger than
as people, we are the largest in the world now.
So I think it's a large category. For certain companies, in spirits company, India is number 2 volume market, like Pernod Ricard talked about it. I think the challenge in India is beer. The beer is under-penetrated. You know, globally, beer is almost 75 to 80% of the category. In India, it is 15 to 20% of the category. It's opposite. And there are 3 reasons why the beer is actually smaller than other countries. I think the number 1 reason is availability. If you actually see, there are only 100,000 stores in India where you can get beer. But if you go to Singapore, you can find the beer in every supermarket. You go to Southeast Asia, you can actually have in grocery stores sell beer.
Yeah.
But in India, beer is restricted. It's only distributed only in 100,000 stores. So that's the number 1 issue. Number 2 is affordability. Somehow taxation on beer in India is much higher than spirits. It's not based on alcohol quantity, it is based on volume. So the beer is not affordable. So, you know, in Bangalore, you can get a beer at 120 rupees. It's still, you know, almost $1.50. Yeah. In Europe, you can actually get beer in sometimes cheaper than water to really bring together. Yes. So affordability of beer is a big issue. And the third is awareness. Because, you know, youth, when they come, their first drink is beer. But then, we need to do a better job of education. And it's also a dark market. So you can't even advertise that why beer is better for you than spirits.
Yeah.
So I do think that there is lot of work to be done on affordability, on availability and awareness. And I do think that, the responsibility lies a lot with the players like us, who own 50% of the market, that how do we grow this category and how do we become the category makers versus category takers. So I see optimism, but I think all these fundamentals needs to improve for the category to grow.
So, okay, let's pick up one by one, because from what I look at it, that the 3 points that you talked about, which are sort of hindering the growth of the beer market in particular, it's all very government interlinked. I'm sure your hands as well are tied down. So how do you bridge this gap then?
I think first of all, we are actually talking to government, and I am convinced, I've been in this job for 14 months, that beer has to be different from spirits. When I joined, a lot of people ask me that you're joining a sin industry.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced I've actually joined a fun industry. And I think that's a huge difference because beer is moderate. Yeah. Beer is, less alcohol. Beer increases conversations. It's more social drink than anything else. And most importantly, beer is one drink which really helps the economy. And because beer is local, to produce beer, you have to get barley, you have to get rice, you have to get sugar, you have to work with farmers. It's bulky, so you need large transportation. You have to recycle the bottles, so it really impacts a lot about recycling operations. So beer is a lot about local. It's produced locally. It's consuming local water. It's impacting communities. And there is data globally that every 100 jobs which are created in the world, one is created by brewery. So for India's economic growth, I think there is a lot more to be done on the beer. I think we as an industry leaders have to take lead, and it is going to be a multi-year journey where we are working with state governments to convince them, why beer? And why beer is different from alcohol. You cannot compare a 45% alcohol drink with a 4% alcohol drink. Yeah. You cannot have, it's like not even apple and oranges. So I think why beer is different, how much beer adds value to economy, what kind of society we want to create. Because in India, my learning is that a lot of people drink to get drunk. Do we really want people to drink to get drunk, or you want them to have good times and have good conversations and have fun?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of work to be done. So that's the opportunity and that's the challenge. But I'm convinced that together with our other players in the industry and working closely with the government, we will see some baby steps where beer can become a preferred drink of choice versus many of these hard beverages.
And where is it that you think that there is potential to grow and you need to do a lot more in terms of penetration, marketing, and all the tools that it takes?
Look, everywhere in the country there is a huge opportunity.
Of course. Yeah.
I'll give one simple data point which inspires me, that people who drink, and we are not going to force anyone to drink because it's a personal choice and we will respect it, and the people who drink, and if they drink 10 times in a year, they drink beer only 2 times out of 10. So what I call it the share of occasions. So if we just increase this share of occasions from 2 to 4, it will help moderation, it will help better consumption. We think the beer category can double.
Well, how do you do that? I mean...
And I think that's where we are doing a lot of work. You're absolutely right. I think last 1 year as a company, we have spent a lot of money, effort, resources to understand how to do that. Yeah. And I think there are 3 big strategies where we are focusing on. I think the number one is to really design for Indian consumer, right? Because a beer is not true. Like there are people who like strong premium beer, there are people who like low alcohol content, sessionable beers, there are people who like flavors, beers to do that. So one is to design the product for that. So one good example I'll give is that, women, the beer penetration in women is actually the smallest amongst alcohol. And when we actually did some research, we have not designed a beer which actually meet the taste profile on what they needed.
For women, yeah.
And that's why we launched Queenfisher in Goa.
Yeah.
And we are very happy with the initial response we have got, because it was designed by our women brewers, it was designed for our consumer, and we actually learned a lot about it. Similarly, we have just launched our Amstel Grande.
Yes.
It is actually one of the best beer available in the country in the premium segment, where we are having a good quality of barley in the beer. It's slowly brewed. It is from Amsterdam. It's actually it has a huge history, great packaging, awesome taste. So we are also designing our innovation program which can help drive that. The second one is affordability as a barrier to drive consumption, because what we learned is that first drink for consumers is beer, And then when they start earning, and then they have family or even
They
bigger
upgrade
circle,
to wine and spirits, etc.
they actually figure out that it is cheaper to drink wines or spirits than to have beer. Because if you order 4 bottles of beer for 4 friends, it's going to cost them 600, 700 rupees. Versus that they will rather have a 200 rupee spirit and manage the show. So we are actually...
And also it's about the consumption volumes. I mean, sorry to interrupt you there. I mean, for a spirit, you'll stop there. But for beer, it's one bottle after the other.
But you only consume 4%, but you actually, it's volume.
Yeah.
So affordability becomes a big, big barrier. So we are actually educating, working with the governments to say that, look, we are actually creating a tax regime which is encouraging people to get drunk. And encouraging people to switch from beer. So that's the second thing we are doing. The third thing we learned is one of the reasons beer is not growing in smaller towns is lack of available of cold infrastructure. So we are actually investing almost 50,000 new refrigerators to actually do that. And just to give you a base, today we only have 20,000 refrigerators of Kingfisher in the market. So we are going to go 2.5 times to ensure that consumer get chilled beer, because beer is drunk when it's actually chilled. Yeah. So there's a lot of real structural barriers which to this consumption. It is, a lot of it is, yes, consumers want to drink something else, but a lot of it is we have not created an environment, whether it's a cold beer or affordable beer or available right products for them to drink beer. Yeah. And we are encouraged with the changes we are doing, because last quarter when we declared results, our premium business is growing 27%. We are expanding the category, we are driving the volume. In one of these states in Assam, I want to compliment the government, where they actually reduced the taxation on beer 3 months back, and we can actually see the category is up 30%. Wow. So it can be done.
Immediate effect.
Immediate
is what
effect.
You're saying. But since you talked about the premiumization category, won't that then also make your products pricier? And then, I mean, it's sort of a domino effect and a cyclical effect at that, because you talked about as to how pricing is actually a hindrance, but the premium card category obviously costs more, and that then thereby impacts your volumes.
I think it is and not or.
Okay.
So I am completely with you that if we only do premiumization, and don't cater to the masses.
The mass market.
We are not doing the right thing. So affordability with the masses and mainstream is absolutely most critical. But premiumization is also very critical, because as the middle class is growing in India and incomes are growing, people have money to spend. And I think they are looking for higher quality product. So a lot of times premiumization is confused with more expensive. Premium in beer is also about the raw material you are using. Premium is also about alcohol content, because in premium beers, some of like Kingfisher Ultra, the alcohol content is less than 5%. It is actually less. So it's more sessionable. So the definition of premium is there, but at the same time, I think we have to do both. The growing upper middle class, people getting income, people want to spend time. Also, the youth in India, I think our big insight is they want better social life. Yeah. They want more conversations. Like we did a lot of consumer interviews, and every city, recently I was in Guwahati and we were talking to consumers, and it's very consistent. We work very hard from Monday to Friday. And we want to
party hard.
And then on the weekend, we have a WhatsApp group, and they are familiar set of friends. We want to chill. Yeah. And there is nothing better to have beer as a refreshing drink to chill and have good time and good conversation to do that.
What you're talking about is, you're talking about a pan-India presence, you're talking about tier 2, 3 cities as well. You just dropped an example of a northeastern state as well. When it comes to the premium category, what beyond Amstel Grande are you? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Amstel Grande. The name itself, by the way, sounds very fashionable and cool. But beyond that, what are the other product categories that you're looking at sort of penetrating towards?
Yeah, no, I think, one of our big learning was on premium segment, we need both domestic and international brands. Our biggest bet in India is on Heineken. Heineken is majority shareholder in our company. Heineken is world's #1 brand when it comes to the premium brand.
And a great brand recall.
And it's a great brand, great product, very consistent, bring a lot of fun. So our number one focus on premium in that segment is to really drive Heineken and Heineken Silver.
Sure.
We are actually expanding our footprint of Heineken and Heineken Silver. So right now we are in Mumbai, Maharashtra, Goa, Kerala, Karnataka, and some of the other markets. And wherever we are with full distribution and full presence, we are actually seeing significant growth in that business. So Heineken Silver and Heineken will continue to be our flagship. Amstel Grande is a big bet for next 5 years. We believe that this is one of the best beer in India on premium strong beer. It is designed for India. It's an international imagery. And we believe that in the next 4 to 5 years, this will become the biggest premium brand in India. And then we have our domestic premium of Kingfisher Ultra and Ultra Max. You know, our business on Ultra Max is growing almost 40%. And it is because the beer is designed, you know, in India. It has been there. And we are constantly learning and upgrading the technology behind the beer as well. So our portfolio of Ultra Max, and Heineken Silver, and Amstel Grande is a very comprehensive portfolio. Other than this, we continue to look at some of our international brands because as a Heineken company, we have more than 500 brands.
Yes.
But right now, the focus is on what we have.
Build that first.
Build that first and drive that, and then we also don't want to confuse consumers. But the other one is the formats, because these are the brands, but we are also investing in draft beer, because in pubs and especially on-premise, consumers like fresh beer, they are looking for an experience. So we are also increasing our draft presence a lot. So we have launched Heineken Silver on draft in Mumbai, we have launched Ultra Max on draft in there. So that's another format where we are going to increase the beer consumption.
You talked about you know, women as a category as well. This Queenfisher, which has got great initial response. When do you plan to take it pan-India?
See, it's going to be a slow burn because a lot of challenges around getting registration done in the states, because many states have processes where you can register your brand once in a year, and also I'm going to make a big attempt. Our company is, during the coming Women's Day, where we're going to appeal to most of the states to start registering this brand. But I think that is one of the big challenges. So we're working state by state through it. I think the second is we're also learning and you know, how is consumer reacting to it.
We're back now at the entrance of the UB offices right here. And what beautiful weather.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
This is Bangalore for you.
This is Bangalore, absolutely. And yeah, riding on good times, much as your brand.
Yeah, no, see, we are here to give good times, but also we're riding on good times.
But tell me, you know, I mean, it may be a minuscule factor for you, but an important factor still at that. We've seen a big spike in food inflation as well, and your raw materials also, considering it's all from the agro industry, must impact your costs.
Yeah. No, inflation is up. You know, in fact, if you look at last 5 years, the barley prices are up 25-30%, glass prices are up, and that is why it is putting a stress on the industry. Unfortunately, in India, you know, in 65 to 70% of my business, I cannot control the pricing. Because this is again driven by the government. So we actually go and talk to the government and show a lot of data that for sustainability of this industry, you have to link our costs to the inflation. But at the same time, I also mentioned to you, affordability is a challenge. Because we also have to find ways to cut cost and drive our optimization. So we do a lot of work on productivity. We look at reducing the wastage. Our number one driver is to collect as many bottles. So I think where consumers can help and the viewers of your channel can help is if they actually drink a beer bottle, they make sure it gets recycled.
Keep the bottles.
Keep the bottles clear. I remember, in the childhood, we used to use those bottles to have firecrackers. And we used to enjoy it.
Don't give those ideas to our viewers.
So use the
Very
bottles,
unsafe.
give it back, and I think we'll have more affordable beer.
That's the North Indian in you who just spoke.
Right.
Diwali times.
Yeah.
But you also very interestingly talked about, creating more events, creating more festivities and celebrations. Here we're talking about in India where the per capita income is growing, there's so much exposure, we know so much. I mean, up until 2 years back, who knew that you had Black Friday sales?
Yeah.
Right now, there's Thanksgiving,
Absolutely.
there's Halloween, concepts and festivities which were alien to the Indian market. Do you sense that you will get some sort of a fillip because of the exposure and the sort of globalization of Indians?
Oh,
now?
absolutely, absolutely. As I said, as Indians are working hard and young India is working hard, we must recognize that they need fun. They also need to wind down.
Chill, as you said.
Chill, as you said. Because, the global studies says the number one issue facing youth is depression and mental health.
Yeah.
And, for that, the best thing which drives happiness is friendship and funship.
Yeah.
And I actually think beer, that's why is super critical, because it drives that conversation and social drink. And these festivals, these entertainment are going to be an integral part of our society. We are having more fun as Indians, but it is much more to do. You look at any entertainment center, we go, I have two boys, we go somewhere, it's full.
Yeah.
And they charge crazily to bring together.
Yes.
So I think funship and friendship is going to be an important part for our social bonding, because otherwise we'll be a very stressful, competitive society. And that is why I truly believe that we have a big role to play.
So how do you marry all these permutations and combinations and all the factors at play which impact your business? Biggest one being government policies, and then of course raw material prices, consumer awareness, you can't advertise. Where does it leave your volume growth in the next few quarters, and what kind of revenue projections do you think you could close, say, the next fiscal with?
Yeah. So look, I think, end of the day, we are managing a P&L and a business.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it all boils down to the Excel sheet.
It all boils down to doing the right thing to do that. I think I have a few learnings on that. Number one is, if you're planning for a 5% growth, plan for 15, because things will go wrong. So always have contingency planning. Because in India, beer business or alcohol business is a state-by-state business.
Yeah.
So in 2 states you get positive, in 2 states you get negative, so better you have to plan more than anything else. Second is very, very disciplined on being consumer-centric. Because end of the days, when you're growing a business, you can have your own ideas, but give what consumer want. And if we understand them, if we plan for them, if the ideas work, great. If it doesn't work, apologize and go back. And the third most important is be very cost conscious. So I think with all of this, we do expect us to be the category maker. We expect this category to grow, high single digit. So, 6 to 7% category growth. Our business should grow faster than that. Premiumization should be
Early
much higher.
teens?
I think that would be a great success. I think it would be, high single digit.
High single digits.
Volume growth, and then of course revenue growth can be double-digit growth if we can actually drive it. But a lot of this business, as you said, is capital intensive, highly disciplined. Every state is a country to execute, so make sure that we have very strong customer relationship. We have a very strong advocacy with the government. We also support Beer Association of India. We have recently formed Brewers Association of India with all the multinational beer companies, so that we can also represent to government the industry view, not even a UB view. So I think it's a long battle, but we will continue to work on that.
Tell me about the recent policy changes in Uttar Pradesh, and considering that also is a dominant market for you, how much did it impact your growth?
It's very recent. I would say that Uttar Pradesh is one of the most progressive policy regime right now in the north of India. I would say versus north of India to do that. It has led to category growth. It has led to industry investing more in there. So our investments in Uttar Pradesh has also gone up. But the recent changes which you are talking about, working capital changes, are very recent. I think we have to just see the impact. But I can always say that if it frees up some working capital for us, we will invest more in making sure there are more coolers in Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
There is high quality sitting experience, because the government has allowed, stores can actually people can sit and drink beer, but the environment is not right. So we can make those investments if it actually frees up some capital for us.
So how much capex outlay are you looking at, say in the next fiscal?
I would say our current plan is almost 2x versus what we did today, but it all depends on the policy stability and policy regime. So it's 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, 3 steps forward. So it's a very volatile business from that angle.
Yeah.
But we try to, I would say, our plan is to at least increase our capex by 2x.
Chaliye, at least with what is in your control, good luck with that. And thank you so much, Vivek,
Thank you very much
for your time. Pleasure
thank you very
speaking
much.
with you.
All the
Thank you
best.
so much.
Thank you.